and welcome back to Death and the Design World. I have my first in-person guest joining me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Laura McGuinness, and I'm the founder of the Glasgow Girls Club and the GGC Business Club.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Let's talk more about the Glasgow Girls Club. Would you be able to tell us more about it and who can join?
Absolutely. So, the Glasgow Girls Club started life as a forum for women, a Facebook group, which was for women, self identifying women from Glasgow, but beyond as well. We've got a lot of ladies from out with Scotland in the group as well. And for me, I had always wanted to create a chat room for women. Back in the day when the World Wide Web launched, I was obsessed with chat rooms because you got to speak to people that you would never normally have access to. You got to learn about new cultures, new places, new ideologies. And I just found that fascinating because before the, like, to think what we were like before the internet is crazy, isn't it? It's almost like there should be like a BI before internet. So that was always a dream of mine, but I didn't have a clue how I would go about setting up a chat room. And then when Facebook groups started becoming more of a thing, I thought that's an amazing way to connect women because it's free to join, free for me to create. So there was no risk, and it was a hobby at the beginning. It was a real passion project for me to do that. And I was working full time with Fake Bake, who are a fake tan company. Not that you can tell. I'm probably the palest person on earth. But yeah, so and I think I had that wee buzz in me that was always like, but do you want to be your own boss? Do you want to go it alone? Do you want to see if you can do it? And I think a lot of people have that kind of wee spark, and it's like don't make it be a regret that you've not tried. So I towards the end of towards the beginning of 2018, I started.
That when you started?
So the Facebook group launched in 2016. And I was actually just rolling about my carpet with my dog, where all the best ideas come from. My little haggis McTartan gives me lots of inspiration, and we were just rolling about the carpet, and I thought, Facebook group. I could do a Facebook group. And literally, right then and there, I was like, what could I call it? Girls' Club, Women's Club. And Girls' Club was more because I felt like Women's Club was maybe, I don't know, maybe a wee bit more serious, or so I thought, oh, Girls' Club, because obviously we're so mixed age in that group. It's not for young girls. It's for every woman. So, but yeah, Girls Club, and I was like Glasgow, and then I was like Glasgow because my background's marketing, and I thought glow. I'm going to really utilize that word to the max, as you know, Cheryl. I do. So yeah, that was 2016. 2018, I was like, right, I am going to leave my job. I'm going to make a business out of this. But I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? So I started doing speed networking events in Glasgow, which enabled me to get out and meet the ladies that were in the club that kind of wanted it to be a wee bit more of a real life thing than rather than just a virtual thing. And that whole year, I did speed networking after speed networking, and I worked with a brilliant programming company and a brilliant um, girl who I actually knew from school who helped me put the branding into the website. And at the end of 2018, we launched the membership club, and that's how I was able to then leave Fake Bake and try and make what was a hobby into a hopefully scalable hustle.
No, ain't amazing what you're doing because a lot of women who set up their own business, they feel alone. You're
Yes.
working like four walls and you're like, and sometimes it's hard to find the motivation.
Yes.
And then what you're doing, that's how I found you because I thought I left my job last year and because it was a lockdown,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I'm so lonely and I wanted to stay at my business. I'm scared of, I'm losing my confidence because of being there. So, yeah, and when I found it, and I thought, this is a good way, and it is because it means all the women can work from home, but also have that membership where they can
Feel
talk to other women in the same
yes.
position.
Feel supported and
Yes.
feel like you've actually got a team around you because actually when I launched the membership, my focus was always on the social club. It was always like, right, deals, events, fitness classes, book club. Obviously, some of the things came a bit later, but that was my focus. And actually, when I was doing the business, I was like, I'm so lonely. Like, I've got no one to talk to. Your confidence, it really easily drops. And I think as women as well, you know, as much as the world is getting a better place in terms of, you know, slowly edging towards equality, we're all still well aware that there's a gender pay gap. There's still, so we've almost got it ingrained in us that men are better because there's so many different systems in life which have been created by men, created for men. There's disparity in different things that we do. So I think especially as a new business owner, you can be like, right, can I do this? Can I do this? Like, can I? So I thought to myself, do you know what? I've learned so much about the pain points of a new business owner that I could put this into a membership, and hopefully that'll help other women to not feel lonely or to not feel accountable or to not feel enough to be successful in business.
Yeah, because sometimes if you work in a business and you ask family members or friends to support, but sometimes they feel you don't want to bother them too much. Do it best at other women who are in the same situation as you, and that will motivate you more. Because I
Yes.
was relying on my parents because of them being deaf, and I think they were getting a bit of a they've supported me all throughout life.
Yep.
But I realised I need to stand up and do this myself because it's time. So when I first joined, no, I actually first joined a group and then it gave me more confidence. Then I joined the group and oh yeah, I loved it. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you so much. And do you
But to be
know,
honest, when I first signed up, I think I had a panic because my therapist, when I first signed up, I was looking at new membership and you know, I was like, I don't think I'm good enough. I had the negative in my head, you're not good enough. Maybe you need too much work for them. Or maybe I was like, no. So I emailed it, I'm going to cancel. And then I thought to myself, why did I do that? It was just me being negative about my therapy. And I thought it shouldn't be. But when I got an email from one of the admins,
yeah,
it made me smile how you want to be more testable for deaf people and hard of hearing. And for, you know what, I should have asked before I canceled.
but then like the process, like regardless of not asking and the limiting self beliefs, it's something that like can really plague you at any time. But we've got there in the end. It's so like, and I'm so pleased because it would have been clear that baby came back to you, and then we had the discussion, and I was like, absolutely, we need to work with Cheryl to ensure that this membership is accessible. Because why would it not be? It needs to be like I want it to be as inclusive as possible. And now I'm so delighted to be working closely with you to make sure that what we are doing is accessible. And that's even now looking at things like venues we're using as well to make sure that there's, you know, disability access. Because the problem sometimes with Glasgow and all old cities, most cities, a lot of the buildings don't have lifts or they don't have that accessibility lift as well. So you spurred me on to actually look at the whole business and be like, this needs to be fully inclusive for everyone, and we need to do our bit to make sure that it is. Because I'm such a firm believer that we all rise together, regardless of anyone's circumstance, situation. It's really important because that's where the magic in life happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that too. And also, I'm working on a project where I'm trying to help young people who left school. So, like for example, you remember that if a girl who's in third year and she wants to be a politician, I would like to tell her, you know what, you can be your own manager. Because sometimes a lot of the people feel they can't run their own business or do anything. The more we show how accessible
yes.
things are and they can do it, and for example, your membership page, they can look up and say, oh, I can do this, I can join amazing women, I can be involved.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to do more of.
I think what you're doing, Cheryl, is amazing, and I think you will help so many deaf people in the same situation because you're leading the way, you're leading the charge, and you're saying, look, we can do this. And it's about finding your tribe, isn't it? I know some people are like, oh, tribe, but like that community that is just going to have your back and just say, yes, you can do it. And we're here to help you. So I think what you're doing with your podcast and everything is just, it's brilliant.
Thank you. Do you know what? I don't think I can do all this without the support from other women. You know, sometimes when I look at the membership, when I see other women, I'm thinking, oh, that, you know, they advice or support each other, and then I learn from that. Whereas some people, like, listen to the radio or watch TV and stuff like that, I don't get full information from the group. I get more because everybody's different, like social media or how to do the newsletter or there's so many things and I learn from them. And that's good to me because I don't have to worry about not being able to find information because I'll be honest, there are some business coaches and all that in business social media and there are so many of them and they're not accessible.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard because if you're restricted, I mean, I'm limited to what I can do.
Yeah.
So we can show more examples to other people, other businesses, other networking, to how they can help to be more accessible.
Yes.
And I think it's time because if we start, well, I'm hoping to start this now, and the more awareness I'm doing this, I'm hoping to change 3 years time, and the more we do it, the more deaf people have left do, the more awareness is 5 years time, 10 years time, it will be so good.
Absolutely.
That's my dream.
And I think it's a dream that's going to come to pass, 100%, because I will support you in that dream. I know that, you know, every woman in that community will support you in that dream. And like you say, it is about sharing the education on how to make it more accessible. You know, if you haven't thought about this already, here's what you could be doing. Because we had a discussion about it as well at our accountability group, didn't we? And it's about, there's various different things like, you know, not using emojis in certain places in your text, and not using the app that changes your font, because that doesn't get picked up very well. So we're all actually learning from each other. I mean, like, right, okay, wait a minute, let's look at everything as a whole. This needs to be completely like available to people, because why would it not be? So we're so learning from you as well, and that's why it's such a lovely collaboration to help as many people as possible.
Oh, thank you. No, I think any other questions? I heard when I first did have cancer because of myself, how did it feel? How did somebody tell me I have a deaf person that wants the cancer? How did you?
Yeah, so Claire, who is our membership and community coordinator, and Claire's a wonderful woman, and she's so, like, I always say Claire's such a nurturer. Like, she's got one of those personalities.
How did you mean?
She's so lovely. And she said it to me, and honestly, I felt disappointed in myself.
Oh, she said that?
No, I felt, so when Claire said to me, oh,
right.
you know, Cheryl has wanted to cancel, and I thought, I completely understand why Cheryl does want to cancel it, and I feel disappointed that I've not made this a focus to this point. Because I think during lockdown, we started doing a lot more videos. We started doing a lot more things that, you know, right away thinking about like auto captioning things, you know, clicking the button on Zoom to make sure. And when Claire had said that to me, I thought, do you know what? That's totally on me that I've not, up to this point, looked at the business as a whole and asked myself, is this accessible? Could everybody come to this event? Are you set up to be fully inclusive? Because that was fundamentally what the Facebook group, before it was even a business, was all about, to be fully inclusive for women and self-identifying women. So it almost gave me a wee kick up the butt, if you like, to say, like, we discussed it, and I was like, well, let's work with Cheryl and let's just make sure that we can make it as accessible as possible, because it should be. So for me, it was just a moment in the business journey that I was like, thanks, Cheryl, because actually it's really important to me that nobody feels left out. Obviously, it's a club for women and self-identifying women. So, but it's not, as you know, it's not a club that's like a man bashing club or anything like that. It's like fourth wave feminism, if you like we're just in it together. We want to support each other and we are inclusive, but if we're not accessible enough, then we're not. So for me, it was just a good, right, let's sort this.
That is an example. That is an example how everybody to do the team. I knew I've been amazing. I just feel you make me feel included, and I'm so glad that you willing to do that for the tech community. It's amazing. Well, thank you so
No,
much.
thank you. Like, honestly, the thank you is right back at you. Like, we're Mrs. Doyle here, like, pushing it back.
And also, where I've been thinking, I will be honest, there are deaf people out there who feel they can't ask because they don't have confidence. I'll be honest, I have got loads of confidence. I think it's from it's my personality, the way I grew up. I've always liked to fight what am I right. I don't know how I got that, but there are some people who feel they can. Like my husband, he won't do that. He won't do that. He'll go on demonstrations, but he won't ask for like confidence. He doesn't have confidence there. But I want to help people like that because it's quite hard. I know that there are a lot of people like who have businesses. They probably are not aware that we feel like that. And it made me realise instead of criticizing the businesses, help them. So that is why I'm doing my podcast. And what we're doing is probably inspire them to do, we should do the same. We should make our business more accessible and make them feel included. Because, for example, Starbucks, I've been messaging them saying, I've been quite accessible this summer, and they come back and said, I'm really sorry. We want to make it accessible. So,
that's amazing, Jane.
I know. And then I'm going to try that. So my husband told me that app. So I ordered on the app, and this morning I was on a drive-thru, and I was thinking, we only could do that. I've actually vlogged it, so you'll see it on the YouTube.
Oh, brilliant.
And then I got to the speaker, I just said, I'm there. I've ordered on the app, my name's Cheryl.
Yeah.
And then she said something, she went, thank you. I'm thinking, they must have got that. So I went through, and I was so nervous, but when I got to the window, they were so lovely. And she gave me the coffee and she went, thank you. That's an example. So the more I do that, the more I go different places. That is just a start. The more I go on.
Yes.
So help them rather than say, not very accessible, but they don't know.
Some people are so busy in the day-to-day daily grind, aren't they? That they need, sometimes like I needed a kick up the butt. They just need someone to come along and say, by the way, this is the situation. And then it's like, if they are a good person and they also feel like, yes, this is really important and it's important worldwide and it's important with everybody, then they'll make a change. And it's just, it's about growing together, isn't it? But people like yourself going out there and being a pioneer, being a leader, being a voice for change is so important. And because you are that, you will make the change.
Yeah, thank you. And also, when I started on a Facebook group called Pretty Titten, and they all put in special offer and stuff, I would love to help them out with disability because it made me realise I had my first taking appointment on Wednesday and got my Astra and eyebrows down.
Love it.
That's the most scary thing ever because we're having to close our eyes for an hour and not be able to.
Yes.
So I would like to help with Darlon and hairdressing, how they can help the people because, for example, closing my eyes, I said to the girl, could you tap me and say, I'm okay through the protest?
Yep.
So I was closing my eyes and I knew she's saying, I'm okay. I said, I'm fine. So walk with them.
Yes.
So that's an example.
Yes.
So all the women, if I mentioned that is what you could do, they would make them feel when the crying come on, they don't want to turn them away. They want to make them feel more comfortable. So that is what I'm trying to do. Different businesses, just tiny tips in advice and support them. Because you don't, I'll be honest, most of the customers, if you're not accessible enough, if you not putting captions to that, you will lose about a population of deaf community. Hard of hearing. So if we want to be inclusive and get more clarity, the more you accessible with captions and stuff, you will realize how much a dead person would tell another dead person, and it would grow, and never get too many people to put in their benefit.
And that's just the way it should be, isn't it? That is just the way. So these tips that you've got will go a long way. And in fact, actually, see, when me listening to you like saying about the tips in the beauty industry, I feel like you and I should do a wee series for the GGC, like in the main community and in the business group as well. But you know, different types of business and how you can make it more accessible. I think that'll be important to do. You and I we could do that as a separate, I think.
And also my dream is to go to jails and talk about accessibility. But if I mention you membership and say, well, I'm a deaf woman, I stay at my home business, I'm getting support from this membership. Please don't ever feel alone. And if you need any help, I want them to come to me and I offer them link and advice and they go to that. Because there are some business support out there, but I contacted them and they never got back to me. So the big companies that I thought, you know what, time to support small businesses like you.
Yes.
Like you. And yeah, so I think if you go to small businesses, they do care about you.
Yep.
And they work hard.
Yep.
If you go bigger company, they feel rejected. I felt rejected by two big companies.
I hate to hear that. I think with small companies, there's such a human element, such a human touch to it. Sometimes with these bigger companies, there's so many levels of people that it's almost sometimes the bit of the humility is lost along the way because folk are just like head down, get their work done and go. But whereas when it's a small business, it's almost like you've got such not an easier capability, but you could really make a mark in the culture and work with them. Sometimes you don't know who to speak to in these bigger companies. You don't know who the person is that's the one that can actually make the change.
Can I ask how many members have you got on your membership?
Yes, so I've got between the personal and the business membership, we've got just over 500. Which is absolutely fabulous. Before lockdown, we were over the 900 mark, and then obviously lockdown happened. So I totally understand. I think for every small business, it was really hard. But what was really interesting for me in lockdown was, albeit maybe the social club was a wee bit less busy because we couldn't do events and we weren't getting out and about, and people weren't getting a chance to use their offers. So I totally get it. But the business club almost flourished because I think business owners we were scared during lockdown. You know, you were scared in your personal situation, but in your business situation, it was hard because you were thinking, where are the clients? People closed their bank accounts, closed their purse strings, rightly so, because they were scared. And as a business owner, when you've worked for however long, even if you were just about to launch, you could have been planning this big launch and then lockdown happened. You could have been into your second year where you've maybe not made any money yet and you were like, this is going to be my year. This is going to be my year that I turn it about and I tell myself I can do this. And then lockdown happened and everybody had a different situation. So I feel like lockdown almost brought the business community a bit closer together because there was tears and fears. But then there was also successes and there was businesses that pivoted. Like, I mean, I can't hear the word pivot and not think about Ross from Friends going up that stairwell with it shouting pivot. But business owners literally changed their whole offering around and made a success from it. So it was a bit where the magic happened. It really did, because as much as it is the membership that I've created, and I've had help along the way with likes of Heather from One for Growth, Claire. I mean, I can't take full credit, but I get so much from it as well. Like getting to meet business owners like yourself, getting to hear the advice, the trainings that go on. I'm like, well, I didn't know that. I mean, we've got a WhatsApp group for our accountability and growth program. And some of the stuff, I mean, I go through the thread and I'm just like, didn't know that. That's like, you know, you're like, oh, that's my fact of the day. And I feel like every time I go into that group, I'm like, oh, fact of the day. And you learn a bit from each other, don't you? Because some women are on YouTube, some women aren't. Some women are making an absolute kill of Twitter. Some women just aren't, and you're inspired by other stories, whether you do it yourself or not.
Yeah, because for example, on Instagram, now how to get music.
Yes.
I'm not on it better now because I'm like,
Yep.
I was so disappointed thinking to myself, why have got these music that's not
What-
a name?
what even are they?
So I put on the WhatsApp group and one of them said, only to do change the title.
Yeah.
I put in business. So obviously they're not getting music in that part, so I changed it to a entrepreneur.
Yes.
And then my music came up and I was like, Sheeran. I was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, I love it.
That is exactly what I did for that group as well, because I was like, because I mean, not to slight the music owners, but you hadn't heard any of it before, and you want to put things that people resonate with, because then they might engage more with your post. So I was like, who is this? And I was trying some of the music, and I was like, oh, I'll just use it. And then someone said, change it to entrepreneur, and I was like, yes, thank you.
That's what I love it membership, because they all help each other, and then just like that, when you go on Google, and then you get much quicker this way.
You can end up in a rabbit hole with Google, I think, because sometimes when I Google things, I'm like, then I'm on YouTube, and then I'm like looking at something else that I feel like I'm maybe doing wrong, and then all of a sudden it spirals into, oh my, like I've not even really achieved anything today. So you just want to say to someone, what's that situation? And someone's like, do this, done. It's like wee small things that you can do right away that make a difference to your business.
Oh, definitely. Is there anybody that can join with any business?
Absolutely. We've got ladies from, I would say, almost every industry. We've got women who are super creative. We've got women who are corporate. We've got women who own retail businesses, service-based businesses. There's no business that we would say we don't think that you're suited to this at all. The only thing that I would say about joining a membership is you need to invest a bit of time into it, because there will be, businesswomen who have joined the membership who have maybe never asked a question in the Facebook group, maybe not joined accountability because that's optional. And they've maybe just sat on it and thought, oh, that's a bit of a waste of money, but actually what we always try and say is, if you could invest even an hour a week into asking the questions that you've got on your list, or
yeah, because you've set days, haven't you? You put in Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
So if you put in a diary,
yes,
the set day,
set
you
days,
take time out and then you do.
Friday connection call, and it's like, it's about showing up, isn't it? But that's within a membership, and it's within your business. Like if you don't show up, and that's even just post on social media, that can be any form of showing up, then you're going to feel like you're not getting anything back. So what I would say is, every industry welcome, but come with the intention of investing some time into it, because that's when you'll think this is great value for money.
What's the difference between personal and business?
So the business members get access to everything. So as a business member, you get access to absolutely everything. The personal membership is more about growing and glowing. That's our mantra, as you know. So more about growing and glowing personally. So we do weekly fitness classes. So Jane Wilson every Saturday morning hosts a live or on-demand half-an-hour yoga class in the exclusive members group. We've got Libby Smith, who does a weekly 45-minute on-demand Zumba class.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm keep meaning to join in, but I haven't, but I will.
Oh,
I love.
Cheryl, honestly, it's one of my favourite ways to exercise, because you're literally just, I mean, Libby looks like a Hollywood star, right? And she's on your TV, computer screen, phone screen, and you're just copying her dancing. But it's so much fun, and the sweating that you do. All I would recommend is, if you're going to do it in your living room, put your blinds or curtains closed or down, because your neighbours will walk by when you're twerking. And you'll be like, oh great, they're going to be like, what the hell is she doing in there? But yeah, so it's about the fitness classes, it's about downloading the app, going around Glasgow or other places, wherever we've got a deal, getting you out, using different places, going places that you might never have gone before, joining the book club, meeting new friends, and we're going to next year do Spanish masterclasses. So I'm wanting to, with both memberships, I want women to feel connected, and I want them to feel like they are learning new things, they're rising,
Favorite pestle one, favorite example, I get a mum who's
Yep.
on maternity leave. Are they allowed to join the pestle one to get out to meet them with other women?
Yes, absolutely. And do you know, you've made a really good point because so we do things like the walking club, we've got a paddleboard club, so we do that with Excelsior Adventures. We do a lot of different things, but next year our events are going to become a real focus. And actually, a lot of the women in the main community are looking for friends because I think, especially in a woman's life, there's different times in your life whereby you're ready to meet new friends. And like becoming a mum, it can be a lonely time as well, especially if your friends aren't at that stage. So next year, I want to put a focus on events that cater to different areas of a woman's life. And with me becoming a mum in lockdown, I guess it was like learn from doing. I felt those feels like, oh, it'd be nice to meet other mums and do the baby thing. So that's going to be a plan for next year. But yeah, any all women totally welcome.
Yeah, because a lot of people who have like disabilities or been there, sometimes they quite lonely.
Yeah,
So they're probably looking for new friends, and because you're trying to make that more accessible and for them to come would be amazing. It would make them feel, because you know how mental health is so important.
100%.
And the more new raise awareness, and they would love to be included, and you're going to make so many people so happy.
Oh, I actually could cry. I feel quite emotional.
No, that's just true because I've been fighting for this for so long. Because I'll be honest with you, when I left school, I didn't have support. I did it all on my own. It was just nothing was available. Because I've got amazing parents who are very supportive, they pushed me through it. And I've actually, no, did you know I had a business when I was 18?
Did you?
Yes.
Right.
My mum and dad had businesses when I grew up,
Okay.
and then they gave me that job because I went for interviews to work in River Island. Anywhere, I had a bit of a panic, anxiety. They weren't very accessible. I cried, and then my mum and dad were so like scared and disappointed. It was so bad at that time. My mum and dad had this wee business, and they said, "Why don't you do it?" So they gave it to me while I was working at college. And it was t-shirt, I planned like hair nights and stuff. I was 18. I've actually been picked for Self Library and Entrepreneur. And I came third, so I was so happy. I was the same, Blue Dog.
Yes.
He was the winner, and I was there. That
That
was the
is-
best achievement in my life.
That is amazing. Honestly, that's amazing. I couldn't even imagine having a business at 18. See, when I think back, like, so that is like phenomenal.
Yeah, that was the support from my parents. And then when I went to college, I had that so I can get an income because everybody's working part-time and I couldn't do that. It was so hard. And then when I left college, I found this job at council. And I gave the business back to my mum and dad and said, I'm ready to go out and explore the world. So I went out and I like working with the council and all that stuff. After working there for 13 years, and because I had 2 children, it was so hard being a mum trying to fit everything.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I've lost myself as well. I had too much anxiety. I was so low. I just wasn't feeling myself.
Yeah.
So I left a year ago, and then I actually left my job 18 months. The lockdown started.
Oh, wow.
So I took a few year out being at home too. It was so funny, but I cherished those memories.
Yeah.
And then I started my business last year, and I've done so many things. And you know what? I believe following the universe, follow your journey.
Yes.
It will happen. And that happened. Here I am doing that podcast with Laura, who's been fantastic.
You're fantastic, Cheryl.
Thank you. So that was my journey. So I had a bit of experience in the business, but it was up and down. But like I said, the disability now is much more different than it was at my time.
Yeah.
So the more I read the awareness, maybe I don't want any other deaf people to go through either because of lack of a disability. And what's the word? It's very, very, scary because they're very, very, very lonely. Mm-hmm. Because imagine going out there with no ear and no eyes. It's hard, but making things so much easier. They don't have that worry like when they leave the house.
Yeah.
Og jeg kan blive dampe. Vi var der packet on, I can't remember who it was, and it was a networking thing on 27th of November.
Okay.
I thought to myself I would love to go.
Yeah.
Because it seemed so nice. And I thought I'm going for it. But over the accessibility in my head, I was thinking all day, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. So I thought before I bought the ticket, then I met it. Wow, I cried. She said, oh, I would love to. Do you need any help? Is there any support you need? Be out there on temperature, anything. I cried and I'm thinking, what is what we need?
Yes.
They were both was born.
Yeah.
And we were chatting away and she's looking into, he's making sure there would be somebody on the day that I go. And I'm doing dentist and I'm, because she said that, I'm actually a dentist. I'm not worrying about, up to the date.
Yeah.
Where some people with bones in debt, obviously what we can. In your head, you're always going to think every day. And then on the day, with this day, I'm sorry we can get anybody. No, disappointed.
Yeah.
And that's when you feel the mental health, nothing's going to work for me.
Yes.
So the more people who, like, this person will be fantastic. So that's it. I'm going to actually throw it down, I'm going to screenshot it and put it on my Instagram, because the more I do that, the more we can support people.
Yeah. The more other people will think that is the perfect response. That's the way to respond. So you're leading the
that's
charge.
what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to think if there's any more questions. But I think we've covered quite a lot. That's quite good, isn't it? To make people right.
You're a brilliant podcast host. You've made me feel totally at ease.
Thank you.
Because you get nervous before you do like any type of public speaking or anything. But you're a brilliant host.
Yeah, but because I don't know if you've seen anybody doing podcast. No?
No?
I don't think I have either. They done in America, but I don't know if that would be. I'm trying to break the record that people can do podcast.
Yes.
And you know what? People are going to be thinking, but I'm not a great speaker. What they can do in so many ways.
Yeah.
There's so many options they can do. They could dive into the video and have an interpreter do a voiceover.
Yes.
There's so much way.
Yeah.
Don't feel you can't do it, by the way. I read it every day. I make do, but I can do that. Because for example, something like my voice note, I don't think going to ask my mum. I think about going online and how do I do it. Then found an app where I can copy the audio. And
that's amazing.
So the more I do that, they can find a way.
Yes.
It's all about being different. Yeah, you are different, but people will see you're different, but you do it a new way.
Yes. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. That is a true mantra, isn't it? And it's like you can do anything that you set your mind to. It's just finding a way and going for it.
Would you like to do anything else? Any question?
I just obviously can't say enough how amazing I think that you are.
Oh, thank you.
I think, no, honestly, and anything that I can do, the GGC can do to support you, and please help us and just keep us on the right track.
Because I love the marketing.
Oh,
it's very bad doing video. I feel more involved. I love it.
Oh, thank you. That's music to my ears. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
amazing.
They're going to be doing amazing. The more I open my face, my help, they're going to get more people joining, and I will support you.
Well, I can't thank you enough, and the support, I will support you right back, 100%.
Well, thank you. Women support women.
Women support women.
I think that's me, and thank you so much for joining, and thank you for taking time to come to my to-do.
Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl. You're amazing. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for the future.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.